G'day, Gavin from Aussie Bush Pens. Just got back from one of my local markets and I shared on social media the pen stands I use. Pretty simple to make. This is it. The other beautiful thing is it collapses, so it is completely flat pack and I save a whole lot of room. So, going to show you how I made these. Not my idea, I got them off another YouTuber. Can't remember who it is, apologies, otherwise I'd give a shout out. And for those of you who don't speak the international language of metric, sorry, you're going to have to do some conversions, but let's get into it. So the display stand we're going to build carries 12 pens. Now you can obviously adapt this to bigger, smaller, whatever you like. As you can see here, I've actually got two different sizes. I've done that on purpose. So the bigger one, I tend to put my more upmarket pens, the ones I really want to show. It just brings that a little bit closer to high level, highlights them a little bit more. Don't know if the subconscious thing works, but that's what I do. And not only that, it just allows for a little bit of depth in the display that I set up. So the length is going to be the same regardless. The difference is this panel. So this board I buy from our big green shed here in Australia. Overseas, you're probably talking Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever it is. I'm going to put a photo of the board about now. Cool. So I cut that board down and like I said, the length doesn't matter and it's 370. I can't find my tape measure, just a sec. Found my tape measure. So as I was saying, both of them, regardless of the big or small, is 370. Now for the purposes of this exercise, I don't actually need to make any more display stands. So just using a dodgy piece of pallet board, so it looks a bit cruddy, but for this purpose it's going to work. I've already cut it to the 370, and as you can see, you want a bit of height, a bit of angle. For the purposes of this, I'm going to work it out slightly differently because you can see that the sizes aren't quite the same here, but this shows you can adapt it to what you need to do. Now my smaller board is 30mm high at the low end and 70mm high at the high end. My taller board, display board, is only 40mm high, so it's only 10mm, and it goes up to 90, so it's a little bit higher up the back, and that just gives that little bit difference. So this is 85. So let's split the difference. We're going to go 25 down here. I'm going to use the texture so we can see it. 25, and then I'm going to do 25 at this end. And we get straight edge. Oh, that's where my other ruler went. Okay, straight edge and draw your line. I got too much crap on my bench. Now you're going to cut this line out, so it doesn't matter, you're not going to see it. To create the little saddles, I'm using a 15mm Forstner bit. You can use whatever size you want, but I found the 15mm suits most pens. So I'm going to mark the center of my holes. I need that ruler back. And the first one, doesn't matter which end you start on, it should all work out the same. I'm going to start at 20mm, and then from there the centers are 30, 60, 90. Testing my maths here. And we've got 20mm left. So what we do is we take this to the drill press and we drill it out. Just use a board underneath. A couple of reasons. One, when you drill through, if you don't have to worry about lining up your center. If you haven't got a drill press, obviously a hand drill is going to do. The other reason I do this, and I'll move it a few times, hence why there's so many holes, is it does reduce the blowout. So I get a bit living dangerously and I just hold it. I don't clamp anything down. Okay, 1 this is one of those moments where if you're not spot on, no one's going to know. Mount the bandsaw. I'm just going to cut down that line that we drew earlier, and that gives us our half saddles. Now, if you don't have a bandsaw, don't fear. My first lot I actually made up with a jigsaw. I didn't have a bandsaw at that stage, so you can do this with hand tools. It doesn't really matter. Right, let's quickly cut this. Something worth mentioning is when I made these up originally, the display ones, these ones here, I actually put two of them together. So one side actually cut them to 370. I got two and double-sided together, so that when I drilled them and cut them, the two here would be bookmarked, and then I just numbered them. So these actually started double-sided taped together like that, and then there'd be another two on the other side, and that way I was actually creating two stands at the same time. I'm not creating that, so I still want to create that bookmark, so I'm sitting them flat. So if you only want one or two, and you can see what I'm talking about, they're not quite bookmarked because, you know, with how I've aligned my drill, but you know, for what I'm talking about, the display purposes, you get the idea. So make a couple up, double-sided tape them. That way you'll have two the same, and you'll get, you know, everything ideal. And as you saw, when these were taped together, I numbered them, so I knew these were always matching and going to look better. So let's quickly clamp these up. Board back under. Now I'm using 8mm dowel, and the 8mm dowel is cut to 80mm long. Okay, cut to 80mm long. Well, the other thing, not sure if the camera is showing there, but I've actually chamfered on the sander each end, so it just helps push it in. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but the ends are polished where I've been pushing them in a few times and pulling them out. And the first couple of times they're going to be a little bit stiff, but after that it gets easier. So these clamps are making it a little bit challenging, but that's okay. Doesn't really matter where you drill these holes, and that's why we bookmark them together. So we're going straight through and everything's still sitting flat. This might not be viewed as a completely necessary step, but it's my display stand. I want it to look professional, or at least semi-professional. It is me after all. But I don't want all these saw tooth marks shining up. So I just give it a quick sand, just to, doesn't have to be perfect, but I just want it looking a little bit better than the saw marks. That's up to you, doesn't worry. Remember, this is just a piece of pallet board, and it's a bit rough. Normally I go to a bit more care, but this is a display for you guys on how I've done it. To me, it makes a world of difference. when you get to site and you're setting up your market stands, you get your 2 pieces of dowel and just push them in. I've already put these in one, guys, just to make it a little bit easier, because the first couple of times they're a bit hard. Line up your holes, press together until you fill dowel, and you have your pen display. Now, I made up about 10 of these for, I think it was about 15 Australian dollars. I could have gone cheap and, you know, used pallet board or bits of timber lying around, but getting the pine paneling, it's already dressed, just looks a bit more professional, and to be honest, for 15 bucks, it would have taken me 3, 4, 5 times as long, and it's just not worth my time. Hope it's useful for you. I'll catch you on the next one. Hooroo.